Have you ever wondered why some men barely try, yet women can't stop thinking about them? I'm not talking about casual attraction. I'm talking obsession. The kind where she keeps checking her phone, replaying his words in her mind, and feeling like she has to be around him. And here's the twist. It's not because of looks, money, or even status. It's because of psychology, and more specifically, how a man uses Stoic principles to create a presence that women can't shake off. Stoicism, that ancient philosophy of calmness, self-control, and inner power, might just be the missing key. When you understand how to apply it in dating, you stop chasing. Instead, you become the kind of man she can't stop chasing. So if you're ready to master your emotions, sharpen your mindset, and learn how to make women feel drawn to you without games, make sure you stick to the very end. And hey, before we dive deep, subscribe to Stoic 95 and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on this kind of knowledge. Now, let me tell you a story. The story of Marcus. There was once a man named Marcus. From the outside, nothing about him screamed extraordinary. He didn't walk into a room dripping with wealth. He didn't wear the flashiest clothes. And he wasn't the kind of guy whose looks alone turned every head. But still, people noticed him. There was something about the way he carried himself, quiet but steady, calm yet magnetic, that drew others in without him saying a word. Women leaned closer when he spoke, even if his words were simple. Men respected him, not out of fear, but because his presence alone commanded it. What set Marcus apart wasn't charm or luck. It was the fact that he had stopped living for approval. He never bragged to win validation, never chased after attention, and never let himself get thrown off balance by someone else's opinion. His strength wasn't in what he showed, but in what he withheld. Marcus had mastered a set of psychological triggers grounded in Stoic philosophy, triggers that made women crave his attention and men admire his discipline. And the best part? He didn't force it. He lived it. Today, I'll share those same triggers with you, step by step. Chapter 1. The Power of Controlled Mystery. Here's the truth most men miss. A woman can't become obsessed with a man she fully understands. Obsession isn't born from predictability. It grows out of uncertainty, curiosity, and the unknown. When everything about you is laid out on the table, there's nothing left for her mind to chase. But when parts of you remain unspoken, when your energy suggests there's more beneath the surface, her imagination goes to work. And here's the psychological secret. Her imagination will always build a version of you more powerful, more intriguing, and more magnetic than the plain reality you could have handed her. Take Marcus, for example. Whenever he met someone new, he didn't dump his whole life story within the first few conversations. He wasn't bragging about his career, his possessions, or who he knew. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. Instead, he stayed grounded in his purpose. If someone asked him what he was working on, his answers were short, calm, and to the point. He gave just enough to spark interest, but never so much that the mystery disappeared. That subtle restraint forced women to lean closer, to ask more questions, to wonder who he really was. And the more they wondered, the more invested they became. You see, the female mind fills in the blanks. If you leave space, she'll imagine details about you that are often more attractive than reality. And that's the beauty of controlled mystery. It's not about being fake or playing games. It's about not overexposing yourself. Most men overshare because they're secretly desperate for validation. They think telling everything will make a woman like them faster. But it actually kills attraction because it removes curiosity. Stoicism gives you the discipline to resist that urge. It reminds you that not everything needs to be said, and not every thought needs to be shared. Silence, when backed by self-confidence, is magnetic. Controlled mystery is a quiet power. It's the aura of a man who knows who he is, who doesn't need to prove himself, and who doesn't hand out his attention or his story cheaply. When you hold something back, not out of fear, but out of strength, you create the kind of space where curiosity turns into pursuit. And that pursuit, my friend, is the seed of obsession. Chapter 2. Emotional mirroring and withdrawal. One of the biggest mistakes most men make in dating is reacting with panic when a woman pulls back. Picture this. She takes a little longer to reply to a text, or she seems quieter than usual. Instantly, a man who hasn't mastered his emotions starts spiraling. He blows up her phone with question marks, demands to know if she's upset, or worse, he tries to overcompensate with compliments and attention. In his mind, he's fixing the problem, but to her, it looks desperate. It screams insecurity, and insecurity is the fastest way to kill attraction. Marcus, however, did something entirely different. Instead of letting his emotions control him, he practiced Stoic patience. He mirrored her energy. When she was warm and playful, he matched her vibe. When she became distant, he didn't chase after her. He calmly stepped back as well. He didn't sulk, he didn't get angry, and he didn't lecture her about communication. He simply gave her the same space she was giving him, like the ocean tide gently rolling back. This subtle withdrawal did something powerful. It created contrast. It showed her that he wasn't desperate for her attention, and that he had the strength to let go without losing his balance. Psychologically, this triggered something deep. Instead of feeling in full control, she suddenly felt uncertain. Most men would have rushed in to reassure her, but Marcus allowed silence to do the work. Her mind started racing. Did I push him away? Did I say something wrong? Why hasn't he come running back like every other guy? That doubt planted the seed of pursuit. She began to lean back in, eager to regain his warmth and attention. By mirroring and withdrawing, Marcus flipped the script. She was the one chasing. The reason this works ties directly into Stoicism. Stoicism teaches that we can't control the external world, but we can control our response. Instead of reacting with fear, Marcus chose composure. That calmness set him apart because calmness is rare. In a world where most men are quick to beg, argue, or explode, the man who stays grounded creates mystery and value. His silence becomes louder than words. His restraint becomes more attractive than any compliment. That's the lesson here. By mastering emotional mirroring and withdrawal, you stop being the man who chases every shift in her mood, and you become the man she can't stop thinking about. Chapter 3. Controlled vulnerability. This is where so many men get it wrong. When they hear the word vulnerability, they immediately picture spilling their guts, crying on a first date, or unloading their entire life story to someone who barely knows them. They think sharing every wound, every fear, and every heartbreak will make them deep or real. But here's the truth, it doesn't. That kind of behavior isn't strength. It's emotional leakage. It comes off as messy, unbalanced, and needy. Instead of making a woman feel closer, it usually makes her pull away, because what she really sees is a man who hasn't mastered his own emotions. Marcus, on the other hand, approached it differently. One evening, while sitting across from a woman he had been quietly connecting with, she noticed a scar across his hand. Most men would turn it into a long, dramatic story or try to joke it away to avoid feeling exposed. But Marcus didn't do either. He looked at the scar for a moment, paused, and then said in a calm voice, "Life tried to break me once. It didn't work." Then he changed the subject. That was it. No theatrics, no seeking validation, just a simple truth spoken with composure. That's the essence of controlled vulnerability. It's not about begging for pity or approval. It's about showing a glimpse of your reality without ever losing your balance. You let her see that you've been tested, that life has thrown punches at you, but you're still standing strong. You've got scars, but those scars don't define you. They're proof of survival. That energy is magnetic because it creates a paradox. You're human, yet untouchable at the same time. And here's why women respond to it so deeply. On a psychological level, most women are searching for both safety and connection. They don't want a man who hides everything, pretending to be perfect and unbreakable. That feels cold and fake. But they also don't want a man who collapses emotionally and expects them to carry his pain. What they crave is balance. A man who can reveal his humanity while still radiating strength. When you master controlled vulnerability, you show that balance in a way that lingers long after the conversation ends. She doesn't just remember your words. She remembers how she felt in your presence. Safe, intrigued, and deeply drawn in. Chapter 4. The Fortress Mindset Non-Reactivity. Imagine this. A woman throws a sharp comment your way, deliberately testing your patience, trying to see if she can make you react. Most men would instantly feel a spike of irritation. They'd argue back, justify themselves, or maybe even storm off, letting a momentary jab dictate their emotions. But Marcus? He didn't flinch. He stayed calm, almost serene. He didn't need to defend himself, and he didn't feel the urge to prove anything. Instead, he offered a small, composed smile, not cocky or dismissive, but a quiet signal that her words couldn't control him. That smile alone spoke volumes. It showed that he wasn't ruled by impulse, that his inner peace wasn't negotiable, and that his sense of self wasn't dependent on someone else's opinion. This type of non-reactivity is rare in modern men, and that rarity is magnetic. Women are subconsciously wired to notice strength in calmness, to respect a man who remains unshaken when others would crumble. Stoicism explains why this works. Insults, emotional tests, and petty games are never personal. They're external events meant to provoke a reaction. The only thing truly in your control is your response. By consciously deciding not to react emotionally, you demonstrate not just self-control, but power over yourself and your environment. When a woman realizes that she can't manipulate you, it creates intrigue and tension. She becomes curious, challenged, and yes, drawn toward you in ways that go beyond physical attraction. That calm, unwavering presence, the fortress mindset, is what makes a man unforgettable. Women can feel it, even if they can't explain it. It's the kind of subtle, stoic power that captivates, commands respect, and builds a level of attraction that chasing or drama could never create. Chapter 5. Purpose over pleasure. This principle is the foundation of true attraction. Most men make the mistake of putting women at the center of their world, making approval, attention, and affection their ultimate goals. The problem? Women can sense when a man's life revolves around them, and ironically, it pushes them away. Desire isn't born from being needed. It's born from being fully alive. A man who makes purpose, growth, and mastery his mission commands attention naturally. He isn't chasing validation. He's chasing meaning. That's exactly what Marcus understood. Every morning, Marcus woke up before the sun, not to scroll his phone or check messages, but to build himself. He trained his body, sharpened his mind, and devoted hours to his craft. He was investing in himself, not in someone else's approval. He wasn't indifferent to women, far from it, but his life had structure, direction, and intention beyond temporary pleasures. And that's magnetic. Women could feel it. They could sense that his world didn't revolve around them, that he was a man with depth and focus. That very energy made them drawn to him almost effortlessly. Stoic wisdom reinforces this idea. Seneca once said, "It's not that life is short, it's that we waste so much of it." Most men waste their time chasing fleeting comfort, emotional highs, or validation from women. Marcus, on the other hand, channeled his energy into things that mattered, creating a life that commanded respect and admiration. Purpose fuels presence. Purpose fuels desire. When a man is grounded in mission and meaning, his life radiates a heat that women feel instinctively. They are drawn not to the chase, but to the stability, confidence, and vitality that come from a man fully in charge of his life. That is the essence of modern Stoic attraction, prioritizing purpose over pleasure and letting the rest fall naturally into place. Chapter 6. The Calm Edge of Power. Here's something most men don't realize. True power isn't about being loud, flashy, or constantly proving yourself. Real power is quiet. It's subtle. It's the kind of energy that you feel in a room before anyone even speaks. Marcus understood this better than most. He never had to yell to get respect, beg for attention, or overcompensate to feel significant. Instead, his strength came from his calmness under pressure. He could sit through uncomfortable moments, absorb tension without reacting, and maintain a steady presence no matter what was happening around him. That ability to stay grounded, even when chaos was unfolding, made him magnetic. Women, whether consciously or unconsciously, pick up on this calm energy immediately. They don't just want a strong man in the traditional sense. They want someone who is emotionally stable, someone who can handle storms, whether they're personal challenges, drama in relationships, or unexpected conflicts, without losing his composure. That stability creates a sense of safety. It communicates, without words, that this is a man who won't crumble under pressure, a man who is capable of protecting not just himself, but the people and relationships he values. This calm edge of power is rare in a culture where most men overreact, get defensive, or allow emotions to control them. That's why it's so attractive. It's not about dominating others with volume or aggression. It's about commanding respect through restraint, self-mastery, and quiet confidence. When a woman senses that energy, she feels drawn in, curious, and even challenged, because it's unlike anything she encounters in the average man. It's the difference between temporary attraction and lasting fascination. Marcus's calm edge wasn't an act. It was the product of intentional growth, discipline, and inner strength. And that's the kind of man women remember long after the moment has passed. Chapter 7. Becoming the man who doesn't chase. Here's the hard truth most men don't understand. Women don't obsess over men who give them everything on a silver platter. They don't become fixated on the guy who constantly texts, compliments, or bends over backward to please them. Obsession comes from something much deeper, a feeling they can't replicate with anyone else. It's about a presence, a type of energy that pulls them in without words, without chasing. And this is where Stoicism gives you a huge edge. When you live with Stoic principles, you develop a calm, grounded energy that communicates strength and stability without you ever needing to shout it. Your silence becomes magnetic. Your composure in any situation speaks louder than the most flattering words. Your purpose, your clear direction in life, signals to her that you are a man who moves through the world with meaning, and that creates a natural attraction she can't ignore. The men who chase are always visible. They're reactive, emotional, and often desperate for approval. But the man who doesn't chase operates on a different level. He invests in himself, hones his craft, and focuses on goals beyond fleeting validation. This isn't arrogance, it's self-mastery. Women pick up on that. They sense a man who doesn't need their approval to feel whole, and that sense of self-possession is intoxicating. So here's my challenge to you. Stop wasting energy trying to be perfect, flashy, or overly emotional just to impress her. Instead, build yourself. Strengthen your mind, your body, and your emotional control. Learn to master your reactions, so no insult, test, or game can shake you. Sharpen your purpose so that your life moves forward with direction and intensity. When you do this, attraction becomes effortless. You stop chasing because you've become the kind of man worth chasing, the type of presence women can't stop thinking about, even when you're not around. Final word. If you've made it this far, you're not here by accident. You're watching because deep down, you want more. You don't want to be just another guy fading into the background. You want to stand out, to carry yourself in a way that naturally draws attention and respect. And here's the truth most guys miss. Obsession, that magnetic pull women feel, isn't about looking perfect or flashing money. It's about presence. It's about showing up as a man who has mastered his mind, who doesn't react impulsively, and who lives life with purpose. That presence comes from Stoic calmness, emotional control, and the kind of inner strength that lets you face challenges without losing your center. When you combine that with direction, knowing where you're going, what you stand for, and what you won't compromise, you create a force that's irresistible without even trying. This isn't theory, it's practical, actionable, and it works when applied consistently. So if you're ready to step fully into that version of yourself, don't just watch, take action. Apply these principles daily. And remember, for more guidance on Stoicism, modern masculinity, and dating psychology, subscribe to Stoic 95 and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next lesson. Stay grounded, stay focused, and stay unshakable, my friend.